Musk had been tweeting, and now I guess making good on hollowing out or ending USAID. He's tweeting, USAID is a criminal organization. Time for it to die. Another tweet, government corruption we've seen, government corruption we haven't seen. And it's the iceberg above and below ground.
Corruption.
Yes, corruption, like weapons contractors, private citizens running our government right now.
Like the top richest man on the planet running our government, corruption.
Yes.
I got a little rant about corruption whenever you're done, but
no. Well, basically, they Sunday morning, the administration removed 2 top security officials from USAID. They tried to stop reps from Doge from entering. So again, these little twinks. Marco Rubio, I don't know about that, but Marco Rubio has now said that he was going to be the head of the State Department, but then he's like, okay, no, I'm going to pass it on to a different official, actually a State Department official named Pete Morocco, to head it up. Yesterday, Democrats tried to get access to USAID. They were denied, and then they protested outside of it. Now, I do want to talk about corruption, but I want to just say, USAID provides really essential services to people around the globe. And I want to play a clip from Ilhan Omar to explain it. But I also want to say that coming from a progressive leftist, non-interventionist standpoint, USAID has also supported really shady, anti-government initiatives that they say are democracy initiatives, but really are things, to topple the government of Venezuela or undermine the Cuban government, and just any government that they don't like.
Prime example of NGOs funded by USAID interfering in their government.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there's good, there's bad, but here's why USAID is important. I thought Ilhan Omar made a good point here.
I am exceptionally upset about USAID. I lived in a refugee camp for 4 years as a child surviving civil war. It is the essential programs that USAID provided that kept my family and I fed and safe. It is the resources that so many people around the world rely on. And it is our soft power. Oftentimes, people interact with our country through the military. That does not create love for us, and it certainly does not keep us safe. When the world interacts with Americans through programs that provide essential need, they get to see the heart and compassion of the American people. That's right.
Okay, so that was Ilhan Omar. And Emma, the thing that I really think we need to talk more about, and Democrats never talk about this, is actual soft power. What it means to be a leader in the world in health and, education, or, providing, whatever sanitation for countries around the world. There's a reason that Russia, with their Sputnik vaccine, when the US was denying vaccine access and patent access to the world under COVID, Russia gave out its Sputnik vaccine. Now, I heard from people in Latin America who were like, yeah, that shit don't work. They were like, it's kind of broken. But it was in a gesture, an overture to say, we, whatever, we want to help, we want to be a superpower that isn't just known for its military might. And, it's Ilhan Omar also says that in those moments in the refugee camp, and knowing that she was alive thanks to USAID, it softened her, it made her look kindly on the United States, that she believed in the United States, and that she wanted to, obviously get involved as an organizer, and then, run for office, and on and on and on. So I feel like that is not discussed nearly enough.
I think that's a great point. And I think that that's what right-wing isolationism really looks like, right? Which is not cutting into militarism, but cutting into our methods of soft power, which have been dwindling since really the Second World War. The big picture part of this is that after the Allies were successful in defeating Hitler, the Nazis, the U.S. and other the U.S. was really involved in rebuilding Germany. Now, it had its issues, right? Like, I think it kept we had Operation Paperclip in the United States, and like I think it kept a lot of horrible people and institutions in power, and like Germany's financial power is still like in the shadow of that, right? But that was a use of soft power, right? After we had just fought the Nazis, okay, we're going to rebuild Germany a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then flash forward to decades later, we basically had decided after our economy was as good as anything in the 70s that now it's time to hollow things out. And like, perhaps we're past the dirty manufacturing being here onshore. Why don't we ship it off to other countries? And why don't we cut taxes for the wealthy? And as that happened, as like our economy and we began to manufacture things physically less in the United States, what got built up? And by the way, Silicon Valley is a child of this. The military industrial complex. California, you know, that was a massive industry out there. And now our military is what, double the size of all of the rest of the world combined.
Mm-hmm.
So the incentive is always to use hard power. And then the Republicans come in and they claim it's corruption to have these soft power elements. And that's the other thing about corruption and it's not really a rant. It's just, I want people to think critically about when people say corruption. I used to say corruption was the biggest problem with our government. And now I say capitalism or with our society, really. And it's because corruption was used to imprison Lula in Brazil, for example. Corruption and establishment, these are terms that are extremely nebulous.
So totally
not connected to a material like vision for the world. And so the establishment for me means like the military industrial. I mean, it can mean anything in different contexts. There's an establishment in New York State's government and an establishment in the federal government. Like, what are we talking about here? And then with corruption, sometimes it's very straightforward. Like Elon Musk, that's corruption. But then you have him calling everything else corruption. And
exactly.
So, without having a vision of leftism, of decommodifying the essentials of life, of taxing the wealthy, of changing the structure of our economy, you can't make those claims because they just get co-opted by the
It's like saying anything. It's like saying racial divisions without actually understanding power.
Yeah.
It's basic understanding of power. Saying corruption without understanding power is pointless. Saying establishment without talking about power is pointless. So I totally agree with you. And before we leave, let's just name that USAID has more than 10,000 people on staff and make up 1% of the federal budget. So this is a drop in the bucket. And that's not to say it couldn't be better, but I would never attack USAID from the right. I would never say like, yeah, actually, I think it's good. That's bullshit. That's a losing strategy. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.